High elbows, let's get straight into it. Let's focus on this recovery arm. Too many times people aren't focusing on this recovery arm. They're lifting the arm overhead, swinging it over the top and doing all sorts of things which can cause potential injury. So how do you get that natural high elbow without causing pain? Well, you've heard me say it before about this semicircle sweep. Because I'm on my side, I have natural elevation in the shoulder. So my shoulder is much higher than if I was flat. That means that after the catch, I can sweep it low in a semicircle sort of motion without lifting the arm high overhead. Now, we've all seen these magazines with these high elbows driving towards the sky and it looks very fancy, but the potential for injury with the arm overhead pressing the shoulder into the neck, the traps elevate and you've got tendons running over the shoulder and it can all compress into your neck. So you don't want to do that. The problem is when you're flat, you have to lift that arm overhead to clear the water. But if you're not flexible enough, you are going to cause potential injury. The other issue by lifting the arm overhead is it's hard to control where that arm goes. So you might well lift overhead and enter hand, wrist, elbow and it smacks on top of the water. Then the arm's too high for the catch, you push water down, it lifts your chest out of the water, your hips sink and it causes inefficiency. So this high elbow that everybody's striving to get means that you get this softer hand entry so there's not as much splash. And this is what you can see here. The angle of the arm and hand going in means that there's no press down with the elbow, and that's obviously resistant because any splash that you make is resistant and is going to slow you down. So as you can see in this video here, it's just very easy for me to sweep in that semicircle. I don't feel any pain in the shoulder at all. It's almost like just an elbow push. So I'm not even really pushing from the wrist area. It's just very, very natural and easier because of that body position that I've got on my side. The other thing is, because of the position of the hand and wrist, it means there's no splash. So I always enter hand, wrist, elbow, shoulder in that position. If I was to enter longer, then I would hit the water. Like I say, my arm and hand would be too high in order for the catch. Because I enter with this hand, wrist, elbow, shoulder, it allows me to get a little bit deep underwater, which makes it easy for the catch to push water back. Because remember, we want to push water back, not down. So many people that I coach enter long, then they push water down. I can see bubbles through the fingers as they press water down. Their chest lifts up and the hips drop. That makes them inefficient. So what we want to do is enter with that nice angle, as you can see here, which takes the wrist down a little bit lower, making it much easier to catch. There's no pressure, therefore, on the shoulder as a result. So that's a really important thing. The next thing that I want to talk about is where we pull to. So it's important you pull to the groin because that's the power section. Beyond the groin, you're going to use your tricep, which we know isn't as powerful. We know that in the gym. You lift around about 3 or 4 times less weight on your tricep. And if you go beyond the inside of the groin, then you're going to use the tricep. You're also going to push water upwards. And remember, we want to push water backwards, not upwards. The other thing that's going to happen is it's going to delay that recovery arm getting back into the water for the next stroke. So it's all going to delay everything. And it puts the front of the shoulder in a vulnerable position when you're sweeping your arm back into position. Because you always want the wrist and hand in front of the elbow. You never want to be leading with the elbow, leaving the wrist and hand behind you. I'm going to repeat that again because that's really, really crucial. Never leave the wrist and hand behind you when you're sweeping with that recovery arm. Otherwise, it takes the ball and socket, the front of the capsule, and causes potential injury. So really avoid that. Make sure you pull to the groin. That's the power section. Get it back in for another power section pull rather than wasting time pulling beyond that onto the tricep, pushing water upwards. We don't want to do that. Okay, give this a go. Remember, you can subscribe, Ocean Walker Vimeo, follow the process. All right, all the best.